Hi, boys and girls. Miss Palaka here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about our main idea, and we've been working a lot on that. And I wanted to read a nonfiction book with you, an informational book called Water is Water. And one of the jobs you'll have is to figure out the topic, remember, which is one word. It's a big, big, big picture topic. We put our arms all the way out. And then we also need to talk about the main idea, which is what this informational book is mostly about. Main idea helps you as a reader because it has you think about what are the important points and the information that I need to learn as a reader. What did the writer want me to know? So as a nonfiction reader, it's helpful to figure out what a book is all about. And when we think about that, one of the things we always want to start with before we do anything else is we want to look at the cover and read the title. Now, the book we're working with is Water is Water. If I think about this, I am thinking about what I see. I've read the title, but what do I see on the cover? Well, I'm getting an idea that this book probably is going to have something to do with water. So as I look at this picture, I think to myself, what's the water that I see? And one of the things I see on the cover is I see, of course, the pond that they're jumping off into. I also see up at the top that there are clouds. If I flip the book over, I see another kind of water, and that is I see snow through the trees here, but then I also see a frozen pond or ice over here. So already I'm starting to think about what's the water that I'm seeing before I even open up or start reading this book. So now that I've looked at the cover, and I'm going to also open the page to the title page, which says Water is Water. And our author is Miranda Paul, and the illustrations are done by Jason Chin. If I start to think about this, I am pretty sure that I can also start to think about the topic of this story. Remember, the topic of this informational book is just one word usually. And I'm definitely going to say that the topic is going to be something about water. So my topic is water. But remember, a topic is different than your main idea. The main idea is going to tell me, what do I want to know or learn about water? What am I supposed to walk away with having learned or thought about? So here's our title page, Water is Water. Let's keep going. I also want to think before I start reading this, what is my schema about water? What do I know? I want you to stop, go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to think about what are the things you have in your schema. Remember, that's your background knowledge. It's what you already have in your head, things you've learned about in school, things that you've read about, things that you've heard on TV, that you've heard other people talk about, that you've experienced. Think about what you already know. Stop the video. Give yourself a minute or two. You can either tell an adult or a grown-up if they're available. You can think about it in your head, or you can even just say it out loud. But I want you to think about, what do you already know? Because that's going to help you figure out what's new information and what is information that you've already learned. Go ahead and start the video when you're ready for me to start the reading. Okay. All right, friends, hopefully you've come up with some good schema about water. Let's go ahead and read a little bit. Drip, sip, pour me a cup. Water is water. Unless it heats up. Whirl, swirl, watch it curl by. Steam is steam. Unless, I'm going to also show you the picture. That's where you see the steam. So as I stop and I look at the picture, I'm looking at, where do I see the steam? I have a lot of schema for this. I know steam. It's on hot things. So usually when something is really hot, the steam is rising. So that is definitely hot water. It cools high. A dragon in a wagon, a crow kneading dough. Clouds are clouds unless, and I'm going to show you the picture because it's kind of a cool picture. You can see where they got the text from. They form low. What form of water do you see on this page? Think about that for a minute. Where would you find the water? Go ahead and stop. Think about where you might find it, where you see it. And then start the video when you're ready. One of the things that I'm seeing down here is that I'm definitely seeing the fog. And I know this is fog because I have schema. I know that I've driven in it and I've seen it around my house. And I also know that it makes it a little difficult to be able to see things. So I want to make sure that I get all that schema and I think about it before I move on. But I definitely think the water here is fog. We just saw the water turn into steam or be steam. Now we're learning about fog. Misty, twisty, where is the town? Fog is fog unless it falls down. Patter, splatter, what is that sound? Rain is rain unless, I'm kind of keeping track now. Stop this video for a minute. Think about the different water and the different kinds of water that we have seen so far. I'm definitely getting an idea that has something to do with the main idea of this book. On the ground, splash in galoshes. Splash to your knees, puddles and puddles, unless puddle freezes, glide, slide, put on the brakes. Ice is ice, unless, wait a minute, boys and girls, I'm going to stop for a minute because I see them on a pond. And this is reminding me that if I go back to the title page, which is right here, I'm also seeing them at the bank. That's where the pond meets the land of the pond. They're kind of in the water, actually. So I'm starting to wonder, is this the same pond, but in winter now? So we see it all iced over. Okay, so I see the snow, but now I'm also starting to see the ice. And I'm thinking that now that pond is frozen. Another way that water can change. I'm starting to put those in my brain because I think it's important to the main idea. It forms flakes. Oh, I know what it is now. I know because I have a lot of schema for this. Pack, stack, shape it, and smack. Snow is snow unless, so now I'm adding another, I'm getting the idea that these are the details. These are the clues that are going to unlock that main idea that I'm going to put together and say, this is the main idea of this story. This is what the writer wanted me to learn about. Spring comes back. Creep, seep, squish in your boots. Mud is mud unless there are roots. Swig, grow big, reach for the best. I'm gonna think about this for a minute. I'm noticing that the water is puddled around this tree at the very bottom of that tree. And I'm thinking that what must happen is the water must seep into the bottom of the tree and feed the roots so that the apple tree, grows tall and strong. Because I know that water is something that plants and trees and flowers absolutely have to grow. They get pressed, drip, sip, pour me a cup, Cider is cider. Oh boy, that's what they're doing with those apples. Until we drink up. All right, boys and girls, we're going to stop. And now what we need to do is we need to think about a couple of different things. One of the things that good readers always can try and do is they always try and think about what are two important words after I read an informational, even if it's a chapter or a book. Well, definitely, because I saw the word water all over this book. So I'm going to say one of my important words to know and to learn was water, because the title even has it twice in it. The other word that I'm going to pick for my two important words is the word forms. Now, you may have some other idea. You could think of the word like changes. You could think of the word different kinds, because we learned about different kinds. So definitely, it's really important that you're able to pull out a couple of super important words when you're trying to find what is the main idea and what were the details that helped you decide that. So those are the two that I wanted to talk about. But now we're going to work on something together. So here's what I'd like you to get. Can you go and get my fiction and nonfiction notebook? Okay, go and get that. Find a blank page, okay, that has, the top says I can retell a nonfiction or informational text. And I want a blank page. I want it nice and clean. Because one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to fill this out together. I knew I'd put that there. Together, let's go ahead and write in the book title, which is Water is Water. Now, you'll need to stop. Okay, go ahead and stop the video, copy Water is Water, and then start the video when you're ready. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is, for right now, we're going to skip. Remember, when we see the book or the lock, sometimes we see a lock for this. This is where we put our main idea. We're going to skip that for right now, because I want to look at what were the details that I found out about water, because that's going to help me decide what my main idea is. Remember, we've already talked about our topic is water, but that's not the main idea. The main idea is more like a sentence. It's what you're learning about water. So I know from reading this that it showed us different forms or different ways that water can change. So I have to think about what were some of the ways that the water changed in this story. If I flip back, I think to myself, oh, wait a minute. The very first picture we looked at, it talked about the steam coming up from, it looks like they're having tea. So they're having a cup of tea, and because it's hot, the steam comes up. And the water, the steam, is made up of water. So I'm going to write the word steam there. Okay. Remember, we don't have to do sentences right now. It's just ideas. All right. The second thing I want you to do, I want you to stop this video, and I want you to think, if you can think about what I read to you, can you come up with two other ways that water changed through this book? We did steam together. Can you come up with two other ones? I want you to stop the video, think about what I read to you, and fill in key number 2, because these are our key details, and key number 3. Then we're going to work on together coming up with the main idea. Okay, so go ahead and stop the video, do your job, and then come back to the learning when your job is finished, and start the video. All right, friends, hopefully you filled in now your other two details. And I'm going to pick 2, but there were many in this book that showed the different ways that water can change. We talked about fog. The book talked about rain. Okay. You could also have written things like snow or ice. Okay. There were many different ones. Clouds. I'm going to go with these 3, but your 3 may be a little different. It does have to be something, though, that the writer talked about in the book. I can't make up my own details. This is the writer's details. Okay, that is the writer's details. Now I have to think about, what are all of these details talking about? What are they teaching me about? And one of the things that I'm thinking of is that water can come in many different forms, or water can change. So I think I want to write, and you can write this with me, or if you think you have one too, you can add your own. I'm going to write for my main idea. I'm going to write that water has many forms. That means it can be steam, it can be fog, it can be rain, it can be snow, it can be many different things. I'm going to put my period there. Okay. So when I look at this, one of the things I'm looking at is, what is my main idea? Which is that water has many forms. Well, what kind of forms or what kind of changes can water do? It can be steam, it can be fog, it can be rain, it can be snow, it can be ice. Right? All of those things could be details. The bottom of this is, why did the author write this book? Did they want me to change my mind about something, or to think the way that they think? I call that persuading. Did they want to inform? Did they want to teach me something? Or did they want to entertain? Entertain is just a big word for, is it just a fun story? We all have fun stories. I'm going to circle the inform, because I know that this author wanted me to know about all the different ways that we can see water in the world. Okay? All the different forms that it can take, or how it can change from one thing to another. Right? Okay, boys and girls, you did a great job. Very nice main idea work. Keep it up, my friends. Talk to you soon.